Let's have a look at the Gantt and the state of health of this project. Notice the status date is set as today. There's a progress line, or we'll put one in. Make sure the grid lines are also in. Look at those grid lines. Notice everything is off the baseline. Do you see that? Everything off the baseline, or the critical tasks by an average of about 7 days. Notice the slack on the non-critical tasks as well. We need a report on the health of this project. Some key metrics, if you notice in my constructed table, but just look here, the deferred milestone as opposed to the original. Okay, so clearly there are issues with this project. Here are the metrics. Total slack, which is a built-in field. We've got start and finish over there. We've got percentage complete, baseline variance, float encroachment. These are fields are created, and critical or not. Now look here. This is where Claude really helps. What we're going to do is we're going to ask Claude to examine the data, build a slippage report for the ducting project, matching the format of the reference report. I have a reference report. There it is. I'm going to copy paste that graphic because it's got the field headers. There it is. This is where I want to pause for a moment as you watch that being done. The process works very well, and critically the numbers make sense. You'll see. I say that because I've had a recent experience on another project where exactly this kind of analysis was produced, and both my interpretation and Claude's output were called into question. That's an uncomfortable position to be in. So when we work through an example like this one, I want you to see that the logic is sound. The calculations are transparent and the results are verifiable. You can trace every status back to the data. That's what gives you confidence to stand behind the report in a project review or a client meeting. So there's the prompt, and the prompt is asking Claude to look at those fields, which I'll paste in. And I'm preparing Claude for the report I wanted to produce. Let's see what Claude says. I will upload the actual file later. I like to do it in stages. There we go. It's beginning to understand what I want. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to prepare it for the upload. So Claude has examined the reference point first, looking at the layout, the column structure, the color coding. And I'm about to send the file. But at this point, I just need to copy paste the data into Excel. The point is, it won't read it off MPP files. So let's do this. Copy, and let's go to Excel. Don't copy the indicator column. That won't translate well, so we start with the task name. And we do a little bit of column width just for our purposes. It wouldn't really be necessary for Claude. And here we go. So there's all the data. It's important to tell Claude that today is the status date. I find that that does affect some of the measurements. So there we go. I could have put that in as a column. All right, good. And I'm saving it into my Claude YouTube channel creations. Okay, so there we go. But I'm showing Claude at this point, so slippage report, there we go, and close. Now what I'm going to do is going to go through to Claude, and I'm going to upload that file to Claude. Let's see what Claude does. Claude should read both files. The reference point first, which I've given it, then looking at the Ducting Project data, identifying the key columns: actual start, actual finish, baseline start, baseline finish, total select, finish, variance, and the critical flag. One thing to bear in mind, status date is today. One could have set the status date under project ribbon, but there we go. Let's add the files. Now watch what happens. There we go. Slippage report going in from XLSX, and it's busy looking at the stuff. It will take a bit of time, so I've actually paused the video here. With that information, Claude calculates 3 things for every task. First, start slippage. How many days late did the task start? Look at that, there we go. All right, there is a small problem with it, and I will get that fixed up. But look at that, it's identified all critical problems. There's a problem with the WBS. I compliment it, and then I ask it to honor the WBS indentations. This it can do from the Excel file. So, could I ask you to honor the WBS hierarchies indicated in the file I uploaded? And let's see what Claude does there. I think I had to pause it here as well. There we go. And there it has changed it. So look, the color schemes, and you've got tasks, you've got work packages, and you've got phases. All right, open in Excel. Let's have a look at the report. The output is color-coded in the Excel report. Red for critical, orange for at-risk, yellow for warning, and green for on track. As I said earlier, 7 seems to be the particular measurement in terms of its displacement, which was obviously caused by one particular task being put out 7 days, and that task was on the critical path. All right, you'll see over there the critical, at risk, and on track. Let's change the color scheme so it looks better for those who prefer working in white. So we'll do that. We'll change the color scheme, but all looking very healthy. As I said before, it's not nice to be told your data is not good. I think this data is pretty good. One can of course tweak it and go back to Claude and ask Claude to tweak it. Look at the indentation, they're looking pretty good. Let's switch the color scheme and we'll see what it looks like when we look at it in white. Good. There's the entire report.